You work 40 hours a week, maybe 50, maybe 60. You watch the money hit your bank account, and almost instantly it flows right back out to fund a lifestyle you were told you are supposed to want. You buy the branded shoes, you lease the luxury sedan, you wear the watch with the famous logo on the dial. You think you are climbing the ladder of success. But what if the people at the very top, the ones who actually own the system, look at those things and laugh? What if the ultimate sign of having real power is looking like you have absolutely nothing? Welcome to the paradox of visibility. There is a deeply calculated reason why billionaires drive beat-up station wagons and wear plain, unbranded sweaters that look like they came from a local thrift shop. It has absolutely nothing to do with saving a dollar. In fact, the more real money someone has, the less they seem to want you to know about it. Most people spend their entire lives chasing a version of wealth that does not actually exist at the top. We have been conditioned by media, marketing, and modern culture to believe that success has a specific, loud look. We think of monogrammed leather, gold-plated hardware, and the aggressive roar of a supercar. But to the truly elite, these are not symbols of status. They are distress signals. They are the signature marks of the entry-level luxury trap. Think about the last time you saw a logo-drenched handbag or a shirt covered in brand names. That item was not designed for a billionaire. It was designed for someone who desperately wants to look like one. It is a highly engineered product created by the ultra-wealthy to tax the aspirations of the middle class. The psychological gap between being rich and being wealthy is a massive chasm of intent. Being rich is about volume. It is a performance designed for an audience of strangers who don't care about you. Being wealthy is about silence. It is a private, multi-generational conversation with history. Why is it that the people who can afford absolutely everything choose to look like they have nothing? Because once you reach a certain level of power, the greatest luxury on earth is not being seen. It is being completely invisible. Let us break down the exact mechanics of this social game. In social psychology, there is a concept known as counter-signaling. It is the deliberate act of understating your status to prove you are so secure in your position that you no longer need to prove it. The new rich are loud because they are insecure about their permanence. They are climbers who view every logo as a physical rung on a ladder they are terrified of falling off. They use wealth as physical armor, hoping the shine will distract you from the lack of depth beneath. But old money views rich things as a dangerous liability. To the elite, a flashy logo is a beacon for three things they despise above all else: lawsuits, taxes, and parasites. When you wear a $5,000 unbranded cashmere sweater, only the people who also own $5,000 unbranded cashmere sweaters recognize it. This is the quiet handshake of the elite. It is a secret language that filters the world. It is not about excluding the poor. It is about excluding the loud. If you cannot recognize the quality of the fabric or the cut of the suit without a massive logo to tell you what it is, you simply do not belong in the room. We have reached a point in human history where conspicuous consumption has become a low-status trait. In a world where everyone is screaming for attention on social media, the ultimate flex is the ability to be completely unfindable. The flashy lifestyle is a golden cage. You become a slave to the maintenance of the image, a slave to the next upgrade, and a slave to the perception of others. True wealth buys the one thing the flashy rich never seem to have: complete autonomy. We need to completely redefine what we are actually aiming for. If your goal is to buy rich things, you are participating in a game designed for you to lose. You are trading your most precious non-renewable asset, time, for depreciating artifacts of ego. The elite do not spend their lives collecting shiny things. They spend their lives building systems. They do not want the supercar. They want the peace of mind that comes from knowing they could buy the entire dealership and choose not to. This is the critical shift from a consumer mindset to legacy architecture. When you stop caring about the rich aesthetic, you reclaim your psychological sovereignty. You stop being a target for corporate marketers and start becoming an architect of your own reality. The most expensive thing you can own is a life that no one is allowed to comment on. Privacy is the new top 1%. Anonymity is the new private jet. Silence is the new gold. The next time you feel the urge to buy something just because it looks rich, ask yourself, who am I trying to convince? Because the people you are trying to impress are likely trapped in the exact same cycle of deep financial insecurity. And the people who have actually made it are not looking at your shoes. They are looking at your eyes to see if you are actually free. Stop trying to look like money. Start trying to feel like power. Money talks, but wealth whispers, and the loudest person in the room is almost always the weakest. The goal is not to look like you have it all. The goal is to be so established that you have nothing left to prove to anyone, especially yourself. We have been fed a diet of neon-lit music videos and glass-walled mansions, creating a mental blueprint where having it is inseparable from showing it. But at the highest levels of the social hierarchy, visibility is actually considered a major tactical error. Think about the concept of aesthetic camouflage. When you see a billionaire in a pair of unbranded trousers and a plain navy t-shirt, you are not looking at simplicity. You are looking at a deliberate withdrawal from the semiotic warfare of the middle class. The middle class uses brands as a ladder, while the new rich use brands as a fortress. But the elite use anonymity as a filter. If your value is tied to the logo on your chest, you are telling the world that your identity is for sale. Old money views this as a form of deep psychological poverty. To them, a logo is not a badge of honor, it is a tracking device for marketers. There is a profound psychological freedom in being the most important person in a room while being the least recognizable. When you are truly powerful, you do not need to borrow authority from a brand. You realize that the more you broadcast your status, the more you invite the wrong kind of attention, the envious, the scammers, and the spectators. The goal of the elite is to be completely indistinguishable. In a world of constant surveillance and digital noise, the ultimate luxury is the ability to walk through a crowded street and be completely ignored. Why does old money despise the rich aesthetic? Because loudness is a direct symptom of insecurity. For the elite, wealth is a private language. It is about the if you know factor. It is the specific weight of a bespoke linen jacket, the patina on a vintage watch that has never seen a polishing wheel, or the ability to discuss ancient art without mentioning its market value. When someone walks into a room draped in luxury monograms, they are shouting in a language that the elite find incredibly vulgar. The rich person buys what is trending. The wealthy person buys what is timeless. Trends are a continuous tax on the insecure. They are designed to expire, forcing you to spend more money to maintain your perceived status. This is the hedonic treadmill in its most predatory form. Old money exits this race entirely. They understand that if you follow trends, you are a follower by definition. True status is found in the things that cannot be mass-produced. You can buy a luxury car tomorrow if you have the cash, but you cannot buy the discernment required to appreciate a hand-knotted antique rug. One is a quick transaction. The other is a lifetime of education. Old money does not hate rich things because they are expensive. They hate them because they are easy. They are the participation trophies of the financial world. The final transformation happens when you stop viewing money as a tool for buying things and start viewing it as a tool for buying back your soul. Most people are trapped in a cycle of performative consumption. They work jobs they hate to buy things they do not need to impress people they do not like. The rich aesthetic is the uniform of that cage. When you strip away the need to look wealthy, you become dangerous. You become dangerous to the corporations that want your attention. dangerous to the social circles that rely on superficiality, and a stranger to your own ego. The transition from looking like money to possessing real power requires a total death of the public self. It is the realization that your internal world is so vast and secure that you no longer require a single ounce of external validation. You do not need the rich things because you have the one thing money can rarely buy: peace. Legacy is not built in the reflection of a gold-plated watch. It is built in the silence of a library, in the privacy of a family compound, and in the quiet influence you exert over the world without ever needing to take credit for it. The loudest person in the room is seeking a reaction. The quietest person in the room is seeking a result. Are you building a stage for an audience that does not care about you? Or are you building a kingdom that no one else needs to see? The world is obsessed with the rich, but the wise are obsessed with the invisible. Stop trying to be seen. Start trying to be significant. The ultimate flex is not owning the world. It is owning yourself. The most expensive thing you can own is a desperate need for the world to acknowledge your existence. In behavioral psychology, we call this costly signaling, but there is a major point of diminishing returns. When you see a man draped in the latest runway logos, he is broadcasting a transaction. He has traded his hard-earned capital for a temporary membership in a club that does not actually exist. Old money views this as a fundamental error in basic logic. To them, a logo is a literal tax paid to a corporation in exchange for a feeling of belonging. If you have to announce your status, you have already admitted that your status is in question. The elite do not hate rich things because they are expensive. They hate them because they are loud. In the world of true power, loudness is a vulnerability. It creates an unnecessary target and invites scrutiny. The shift begins when you realize that the most prestigious brand in the world is your own anonymity. True wealth is not about the ability to buy things. It is about the ability to ignore things. The rich person is a slave to the trend cycle, constantly updating, upgrading, and uploading. Their identity is tethered to the external world, making them fragile. If the market shifts or the brand loses its luster, their entire sense of self collapses. The legacy mindset operates on a completely different temporal plane. They invest in things that do not signal. A 100-year-old estate, a bespoke suit with no visible branding, an education that focuses on classic logic rather than modern trends. These are not purchases, they are fortifications. This is the quiet advantage. While the rest of the world is screaming for attention in a crowded digital bazaar, the elite are cultivating a life that is entirely decoupled from public opinion. They have achieved the ultimate luxury, the death of the ego's demand for constant validation. Ask yourself, if you could never post a photo of your life again, would you still want the things you are currently chasing? If the answer is no, you are not building wealth. You are building a stage. And stages are for performers, not for kings. We are moving into an era where looking rich is rapidly becoming a low-status trait. As the tools of signaling become cheaper and more accessible through replicas, credit, and social media filters, the truly powerful are retreating further into the shadows. The transition from rich to old money is not a financial milestone. It is a psychological evolution. It is the moment you stop trying to prove you belong and start realizing that you are the one who defines the room. It is the shift from seeking a quick reaction to seeking a permanent result. The world is obsessed with the visible, the flash, the noise, and the temporary. But the people who actually run the world are obsessed with the invisible. They value privacy over publicity, legacy over luxury, and autonomy over applause. The ultimate flex is not owning the world. It is owning your own time, your own mind, and your own silence. Stop trying to be seen. Start trying to be significant. The loud are eventually forgotten, but the quiet are the ones who write the history books, the rest of the world reads. If you have reached this level of the journey, you have already stopped looking at the surface. You are ready to decode the deeper systems of power and human behavior. Welcome to the Inner Circle. Subscribe to Legacy Arc and let us begin the work of building something that lasts. True wealth is not a trophy to be displayed. It is a fortress to be inhabited. The moment you display your fortress, you invite the siege. The elite understand that the human mind is naturally envious, and envy is a destructive force. By keeping their assets, their lifestyles, and their preferences hidden, they neutralize envy before it can ever form. This is not merely a financial strategy, it is a survival mechanism. History is littered with the ruins of those who showed off too much, who built palaces too close to the road, and who let the public see the depth of their vaults. The modern world is no different. The digital age has simply accelerated the speed at which the visible are targeted. When you post your luxury purchases online, you are not just signaling status, you are publishing a balance sheet for regulators, creditors, and critics alike. You are painting a target on your own back. Old money understands that the safest way to enjoy wealth is to make it look like common sense. They live in homes that look ordinary from the street, but are architectural masterpieces inside. They drive cars that blend seamlessly into traffic, but are mechanically flawless. They wear clothes that look like ordinary garments, but are tailored to last a lifetime. This is the art of strategic understatement. It is the understanding that real quality does not need to scream to be appreciated. It is the confidence to let the work speak for itself. When you no longer need the world to tell you who you are, you gain a level of power that no brand can ever provide. You become self-contained, self-directed, and self-sustained. You exit the competitive arena of consumerism and enter the quiet sanctuary of self-sovereignty. This is the ultimate destination of the legacy journey. It is not about accumulating more things. It is about needing fewer things to feel complete. It is about realizing that the most valuable assets you own are the ones that cannot be bought, sold, or stolen. Your peace of mind, your autonomy, and your privacy are the true measures of your success. If you are ready to stop playing the superficial games of the crowd and start building a real, lasting legacy, then you belong here. The path of the invisible is not for everyone. It requires discipline, patience, and a complete surrender of the ego. But for those who are willing to walk it, the rewards are infinite. You will find a level of freedom and security that the loud, flashy world can only dream of. You will build a life that is not just successful on the outside, but deeply significant on the inside. Let us leave the noise behind and focus on what truly matters. Let us build a kingdom in silence and let the results speak for themselves.